Hello and welcome to the Queerlit Readathon. I'm Josh, and this is my Queerlit Readathon reading vlog. Forgive my lack of excitement as I've already filmed this introduction, and for some reason the clips aren't there. I remember explicitly recording this because I remember when it was done I was like, okay, that's 4 minutes, I should stop talking now. And so I did, but there's no goddamn footage. That's beyond irksome. So now we have a completely unnatural start to the day. Luckily, I'm at least editing ahead of time, so it's still the first day of the vlog. I have plenty of footage for you to look at for the rest of the day, but welcome to this vlog. I'm going to be reading a bunch of different books I thought about my Queerlit Readathon. Rather than go through all the books again here, I'm just going to basically talk to you about them as I start to read them. Right now, I've started The Future on the Timeline, and initial thoughts were good. The thoughts I gave you based off like the first 20 minutes that I read this morning when I started talking to you was that it's good, but it feels a little over the top. A little histrionic, I guess, was part of it. I wasn't quite sure how I felt about that because I felt like it was trying to take itself seriously. I will expand on those thoughts later in today's clips. I don't want to spoil the thoughts that will come. I want some natural progression. Of course, that's lost since this first clip was lost. I'm really excited to be here giving a vlog. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of fun just being able to relive and document what I'm doing, talk all about it. It's a chance to engage with you about the books that I'm reading actively and talk about that stuff, which is really fun. But also, given my state of mind of late, which has been a bit of a reading slump, really busy with school, and not always doing things that I'm happy about, like as far as like my routine, these vlogs are a good motivating factor for me to stick to a good routine that is honestly better for me both physically and mentally, and so that's part of why I'm really excited to be doing this vlog with you. And I'm hoping this vlog will motivate me to get up in the morning and stick to the routine, go for a bike ride, so I can get through as many books as possible. I have 4. My goal is 4. I'm sure I'll get through at least 3. We'll see if that's successful, but I'm doing my best, and I'm hoping this vlog will be a mutually beneficial experience for all involved. Which is to say, I hope you enjoy the vlog that is about to follow. Let's get on with the day, I suppose. I made a smoothie. I forgot. I had a smoothie this morning to show you because, of course, that was the natural progression of things. That's how time works. I don't have it anymore because I drank it. Well, you can at least enjoy me making some grits after this before I get my bike ride. Okay, so I'm on my ride. It's been about an hour. I kind of want to keep going, but I'm also starting to get hungry, and it's all supposed to rain. It's not even 70 degrees, so I don't know what I want to do. I'm debating if I want to keep going. I feel like I should keep biking. I feel like there's a good chance I'm going to order a burrito. Like, does it defeat the entire bike ride if I buy a burrito? I don't know, but there's a good chance it's going to start raining. I'm just going to start going, and I may end up turning around. As far as the book, I'm enjoying it. But I still have this sort of sense of over-the-topness, but I think part of that comes from the narrator being a little histrionic. And I'm also not entirely believing the world. Like, it's not that it's not interesting, it reminds me kind of it reminds me of Cadilla's Time War, except the difference here is I feel like the author is being a bit more direct in trying to develop the world and how it works. And I think it's a tricky thing sometimes when you're trying to describe and make sense of a complex, speculative world. Easy to not feel right. And for me, it's not quite meshing. I kind of prefer the weighing on the side of caution and leaving more to the imagination. There's some kind of concert going off in the background. Such as not to
make it so difficult for the reader just to start doubting it. And this is really subjective, so I'm not quite sure if it's this story's problem, but it's still interesting. I am sort of getting disconcerted, though, as far as the timeline. Like, I don't quite always catch when we're, like, in the present or in the past or something like that, or if we're changing perspectives. I don't think we are, but now I'm starting to second guess that. And it's kind of meta in the sense that our main character says she's getting future and the past sort of meld together. Not that's like a spoiler, it's like more like a general, like a major plot point, at least not yet. But like it's just I'm feeling kind of the same way, like which one's which. And I don't know if it's just my fault or the story's fault. Right now it's a fine story, it's just not head over heels for it. It's not the best start of the blog. But I'm debating if I want to switch over to how does the Death of Your Beauty, how to something you full Death of Your Beauty. I don't fucking know. I may end up doing that. I don't want to get too much in a slog because I pushed myself to read something that's sort of not the most exciting. I don't know. We'll see. Hello, my name is Josh. It is Tuesday and I'm still reading the same book. Sorry I haven't updated you yet, it's about almost 3. I forgot that I have a presentation to give today, an hour-long presentation at 3 o'clock. Thankfully, I had something mildly prepared, so it didn't take too long to edit it, prepare it for today. I'm a little nervous. Luckily, it's nothing like too impactful, not like an interview or anything. It's just a research presentation. Still, an hour-long presentation is hard to prepare for, so I'm kind of stressing out. Haven't had a chance to talk to you, so I just want to give you a quick update. Say things are happening, and I'm still reading the book. I think I have less than 2 hours left, which is more than I would have liked to have said at this point in the day, because I have more work to do after this meeting, but I'll probably take a break, cook some food, and listen some more, because I want to finish this book today, because I know I won't get through 3 books if I don't finish at least a book every 2 days. But it's not much. Has it changed my thoughts? I hate to say it, I don't love this narrator. I'm convinced that I don't know what it is that triggers me with certain narrators, but I can't stand it when I feel as if I'm listening to a caricature. Like, I'm so used to voices not being realistic. I don't have a problem with someone who has a fake masculine or fake feminine voice. That doesn't get to me. But when I feel like the inflections are overly done, overly theatric, there's something about it that doesn't resonate with me. And I don't know why. And I think it makes the story not as great because it makes me question whether or not the story is itself histrionic. Not in the plotting, which makes perfect sense. I mean, some of the things that are happening in this time travel story, I'm thinking to myself, this is already happening in the real world without time travel. Of course it could happen with time travel, if not worse. I will say that there's also a conversation about murder and when violence is appropriate, and this story is sort of doing what I get irked by sometimes with some books, which is takes real world modern day issues and it tries to extrapolate them to a situation that doesn't make sense. The situation they're in, the idea that violence isn't the right answer and people literally getting murdered seems kind of a stretch. At the same time, there was a addition, at least to one of our characters, the backstory that outlined why they are so adverse to violence. Still, it's a bit of a stretch for me. So that's an example of how the story... There's another thing about the story that's sort of getting at me. It's not like bad. I'm still feeling like 3.5, and it's a question if it's going to be rounding to down or up. Probably closer to up right now, so it's more positive. But just, little nitpicks with the story make me think to myself, I don't know.
my phone straight? Well, it is Pride Month, so maybe it's better if it's not straight. Where was I? Where am I? I'm in the middle of You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. It's intriguing. I don't know what to expect. It did seem a little messy at first, like messy in a good way. I don't read a lot of love stories or romance stories, but those that I think about as really liking tend to be very messy. Things like Luster or Detransition Baby, I consider those love stories, romances of some sort, but they're kind of very messy. And this one gives vibes of that, at least at first. I feel as if things are evolving in a more, I guess, traditional way, but I have a feeling things are going to take a left turn and become messy again. And I'm looking forward to that. Right now, we're following our main character who basically is coming out of a relationship where her significant other recently died. And so we're just seeing her try to adapt to the dating pool, to the dating market. Now she's in this sort of platonic friendship with this guy who's into her, and they're quote-unquote friends, but the type of things they do as friends seems questionable. And for what it's worth, the characters involved seem very self-aware of the fact that this isn't what you associate with a friendship. I know I, for one, if I had that kind of platonic relationship with a friend, whether I wanted to or not, I'd probably start catching feels real quick. But then again, I don't consider myself the most, romantically competent. I don't know. I don't get too personal here. I've only had very limited experience in relationships. So I don't have a great background of what makes a good relationship, really. So it's interesting to try and approach it from that perspective to see what I can garner as far as like what I should and shouldn't be doing in a relationship, and how I could have a friendship. So everyone wants to have a nice friendship, even better friendship that could evolve into something more. But how you maintain one at least to the other without deliberately doing things superficially to lead to it, it's complicated. Like how do you do one without alluding to the fact that this is what you want? And like it just seems difficult to navigate that, and I think it's becoming apparent in this story so far. So I'm interested to see where things go. I will say I glanced at a review where someone mentioned something that seemed to hint at something weird. I don't even want to say it because in case people stop watching, I don't want you to hear this word and think this is what the book's about. I want to make sure for sure this is in the book, and then I will tell you. It's not a spoiler review, but there is something that seemed to be hinted at by someone's review that I did not see in the synopsis, that if I find to be in the case, I will tell you. But by the time this is over, I will clarify what I thought they were hinting at, and I will clarify if that is a plot point, because I feel like it's one of those things people have the right to know what to expect going in. For now, though, I'm thoroughly liking it. Honestly, I didn't go for a bike ride this morning because I had work to do, but also it was raining. Sun's coming out. I should still be working, and I will probably later, even though it's hard for me to work past 5, to be honest. But I'm gonna go for a bike ride because I'm in the mood, and I stopped to get some food and listen to some, and now I really want to keep listening. Biking is the way in which I do that. One thing I also want to make note of, though, is that obviously Emezi's writing is on point. Coming over from Freshwater, my last read, this one, even though it's following the death of a significant other, it feels, I don't want to say lighthearted, but it feels more upbeat. And Freshwater itself, dealing with heavy topics, was far from upbeat. And it's nice and refreshing to get Emezi's gorgeous writing in a sort of upbeat story, even if that upbeat story may not be the cleanest thing as far as, relationships go. Which maybe it will be. I prefer the messiness, like I said, but all we can do is wait and find out.
could all look cool with my sunglasses. And no, I don't. I'm here. I have about 2 hours left on the book, You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. And let me just say, I honestly don't know if there's another author who has been so consistent than Emezi. Like, the consistency of the quality and love that I have for their books is the third one I've read. It's just, and they never cease to amaze. Eventually, I'm going to have to acknowledge the reality that Emezi is might be my top author. I'm not quite there yet. I can't say yet exactly. Actually, yes, I can. I thought someone hinted at in a review that incest was here. There is absolutely no incest. I'm not going to say what they were hinting at because I don't want to spoil it. What I will say is that we have a character dealing with their own issues, dealing with loss and trying to get beyond that, trying to build a new relationship. And in doing so, she has to deal with other complexities that begin to arise in that relationship. And the book revolves around our main character trying to navigate this uncomfortable at times, but tantalizing situation. And it feels extremely real. I could see people having issues with the book, with the ideas and potentially the things that our main character does. I haven't can't afford to even say if they do anything problematic or not. But the fact that they might, or if they did, I could see people taking issue. But personally, they could do the worst thing that I can imagine in the story, and I wouldn't hate them for it. The complexity of the situation, the difficulty of navigating it is real. It's easy to see things in a binary, especially from the outside. The pressures of the moment might be harder for some people, and maybe not as much for some people than others. I can recognize that. Everyone's situation is unique, and what I really appreciate is that this isn't pretending as if our main character is some kind of monster. It's her recognizing the difference between right and wrong and doing her best not to let herself compromise her own morals, and dealing with the reality of how difficult that can be sometimes. And I'm loving this for that reason. I might end up finishing this today, in the same day that I started. Sure, I started it last night technically. I got to 5 minutes of it. So wow, I don't know when or how it happened, but I just sped through this book. And honestly, I can't figure out where I found the time to listen to it. It's a beautiful day. It rained this morning. I love when they have clouds, dark clouds in the sky with the sun. It's such a nice ambiance. I'm going to stop talking to myself now like a maniac, and I'm going to head home. Obviously, I'm giving you the quality content that you want and you expect from my channel by filming with the flashlight that is my watch. Who says you never need a flashlight on your watch? I just finished Love, Death Robots. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty. I'm going to give it 4.5 to 5 stars, somewhere in between there. So not a solid 5 stars. I mean, I may end up giving it a 5. I haven't decided yet, but it's not like a resounding 5 that I felt very rarely. And I think overall, everything I've said so far really summarizes my thoughts. I think it deals with heavy topics, really messy situations in a realistic way. And even if you don't agree with the choices of certain characters,
What really matters is that we can empathize with them. Like, I don't condone certain actions, but I understand them. And that empathy, I think, is one of the most effective parts of the book. Like, what do you read for? I think there's a lot of reasons to read. I think the gaining of empathy is one of the biggest reasons, one of the biggest benefits of reading. My biggest issue with this story, though, is that while it handles the messiness so well for the majority of the book, I feel as if Akwaeke Emezi wants us to believe that things will settle out potentially for the better in the long term. And in some ways that may be true, but I just feel as if they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. The situation is messy. The result's going to be messy no matter what. I'm not convinced it'll be as clean as we're seeing. I feel as if things are going to be more messy than what the story actually was. Some things, some actions will have what I think is going to be irrevocable consequences. There is hope in certain areas in the story. It's a feel-good moment. Feels like it's escaping away from the realism that exists for the majority of the story. That messiness, the fact that it's there makes it feel real. And when you take that away, it feels more artificial. I feel like it's a minuscule part, and it's not as if there aren't consequences. It's just not as impactful as I thought or feel like it should be. Overall, though, I loved this. I mean, I read it basically in one day. Like, I'm sitting here in bed, tired and ready to go to sleep, but I had to finish the story. I'm so excited to be done. It's Tuesday and I finished 2 books. What are the chances? Okay, it's time for me to go to bed. Good night. Okay, good afternoon. It's not morning anymore. I had a meeting this morning, so I didn't have time to really catch up with you. But meeting's over now. It's about 12:20, and I'm going to go for a bike ride. It's supposed to start raining at around 3 or so, and it's going to be raining all evening, so I want to get a bike ride in, both for the vlog and for my own well-being. First, though, I need to eat something, because I knew I'll start starving, and next thing you know, it's a burrito time. So I'm on my bike ride. It's been about an hour, but I'm currently listening text-to-speech to Be a Trans Man stories or interviews about the nature of being masculine, trans-masculine and so forth. And it is so far really interesting, really insightful. I read a review or a few reviews on Goodreads. One of them critiqued it as being too privileged in its perspective, and so far, while there are some highly educated, highly, privileged perspectives, generally speaking, it's not really about the privilege. I mean, there are a couple times where they acknowledge the privilege of their position, but the book itself is really about the nature of masculinity and what that means to you. I think so far it's been really effective. And what I will say is, while the book opens up with an essay, introduction by the author, I think it's really well told, really good. The following set of narratives are purely interview based, where question and answers written up
And while it gets the point across and it's easy enough to read, it's not the most effective work of nonfiction. I don't care for it. I don't care for that style. I think the direction would have been more impactful if the author chose either to use the interviews to craft a book that encapsulates all the themes, all the ideas being discussed, or invite the individual interviewers to write an essay on their experience and maybe give them some prompts if they wanted them to have specific things to discuss. And I think that would have been more powerful, would have been more personal, but that's not what we got. So I think as it stands, barring some major setbacks, I think I could end up getting like a 4 out of 5. I'm still early in the book. It's not true. Shit, I'm at 50%. I'm halfway done. So I have a good sense of what it's going to end up being. It's not that it's unimpactful. It's just really purely the style that doesn't work for me that well. I should also mention this doesn't come out until October, so I'm really ahead of myself as far as reviewing it. I may try to do a stand-alone review when I'm done for when it comes out. Maybe bring your attention back to it because I do think it's something worth reading. It's very effective what it's trying to do, even if I think it doesn't make the best book, at least my personal preference. I'm debating if I want to take a pause from it and start the next book, the last book, because I'm pretty sure I'll have time for it. I'm going to end up reading The Names of Night or something, because that one, like I said, had a couple people who wanted to hear my thoughts specifically. So this week's going well. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get through all the books I want to get through, maybe more, we'll see. So I haven't read much. I've been working, not always the most productive, but I haven't got much reading done. I don't think I'll be going for a bike ride today. Well, you probably can't see it, but there's wind. Oh, well, you can't see it, there's rain. It's like rain on today. And anyways, so that won't be happening. But I also don't know if I'm in the headspace. I'm going to take today off, basically, because I didn't realize so there's a reason I thought this ended on Friday, but it ends on Saturday, which means I have ample time to finish my books. So I'm not stressing too much. I might listen a bit tonight, but generally speaking, I'm kind of chilling. It's time for the boring day. Welcome to the Friday. We have one more day after today for the vlog, and I haven't done any reading the last 2 days. I have not been in the mood to do anything. Like, I've done some work, thankfully, but any activity, any biking, no. Like, I really don't want to go for a bike ride.
I ate like a bunch of peanut butter today. It's really bad. I have to go burn off some calories. But on top of that, I need to read. But I know if I force myself to go and I'm not in the right headspace, I'll probably just zone out. And then it's going to not like the book because I won't be able to follow. I don't know what to do. I really want to finish these books for y'all. I'll at least finish To Be a Trans Man because I'm so close to finishing that anyways. But I really need to finish them both. I don't know if I have the willpower anymore to push through these books, unfortunately. It's supposed to rain too. It's just another reason not to go for a bike ride. And I still have work I need to do. Like, I'm not at the point I wanted to be up by the end of the day on Friday. So what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Please, if you could just tell me. Hello, we are here Saturday morning, and what time is it? 11:30. So, I made it out before the rain. It doesn't look like rain, but it's supposed to rain this evening, so I guess we'll see if that happens or not. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day for a neighbor. Where am I at? I did not do much reading yesterday. I got a little bit done. I don't think I'm going to finish both these books. I think I'll finish To Be a Trans Man, which I haven't started picking up again, but it's only an hour, so I'll make that work. But I still have like 4 hours left, maybe 3.5 now, on 30 Names of Night, I think is what it's called. I'm not disliking it at all. I'm just not in the headspace, and part of me wonders if I should keep pushing through, because I kind of, if it was not in the vlog, I'd pick up a different book. But I feel like even if I'm not going to finish it, I should stick to the same book for the vlog. I feel pressured. You're all pressuring me. Stop pressuring me. I don't know what to do. I'll decide before I leave. I may keep trying, but I keep pausing because my mind keeps wandering. I'm not getting very far. But there's also things like I'm not quite following everything. Like, I don't always know. Like, we have two perspectives. We have our main character, who is this trans man, immigrant whose mother died a while back, and he's living with his grandmother, and talking about his experience, which is really fascinating from a sort of, mirrors and windows perspective. And then we also have the other perspective, which is a older, not like older person, but I'm saying the perspective I'm pretty sure is older. It's from like a dirt diary or something. And I don't know if it's his grandmother or his mother. I need to just Google the characters to to figure out whether or not that's which is which, because it obviously matters, but I haven't picked up in the context either. And I don't know what to do. I feel like if I keep pushing myself through it, like I won't dislike the book, but I won't love it as much as I probably would have. But so far, like it's still really interesting. The things it's exploring is fascinating. It's just not quite the story that I'm looking to deal with. People can see me talking to myself, and it's very awkward. It's very uncomfortable. At the same time, I don't blame the book. I think there is a feedback loop that I'm unescapable. Like, sure, I'm not in the mood. Some books are more likely to get me in the mood, and if this one isn't, I don't know if it's this thing about the book itself or just about what books I need to get me in the mood. Not objectively. Like, I blame the book in a subjective manner, in a way that's very unique to what I need in the moment. Does that make sense? In either case, I'm going to, keep relaxing. I don't know. I'm sweating a lot. Hello, it's me. I'm here to update you about the thing we just talked about. I don't really have much to update you on. I'm still reading the same books, but it's currently like 5 o'clock, and I'm thinking I want to go for another bike ride in the same day. I am not going to lie, I'm tired. I want to nap, but I also really want to finish this shit. I don't want to waste my day. I made it out in the morning, now I can go out in the evening. And I just really want to finish these books. I don't think I'm going to end up loving 30 Days of Night, but I'm not convinced it's the book's fault. Like, I still really like it. I think it's one of those books I may have to revisit when I'm in a better headspace. I still want to finish it, to be honest. And the other one as well. So, let's get back out there. So I just learned that the second voice we're getting, a secondary journal entry as a secondary perspective, it's not his mother, it's not his grandmother. It's this painter. I was just reading the synopsis again and realizing it's a painter, and I'm thinking, what painter? I clearly missed something early on, because now there's this entire secondary perspective that I'm completely confused about. I am like an hour and a half away. I want to finish the book, but if I'm this confused, can I even say I read it? Usually I'm pretty good at recognizing when I'm so detached that I just need to stop. I'm not getting it. Either DNF it or return to it later. Clearly, I was not, but did not recognize just how out of it I've been. So now I'm wondering, like, have I just wasted all my time? Should I even count this as a read? I don't even know anymore. Okay, I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch over to be a trans man. So I'm going to start reading now and wait for the ride back, finish that off. And I'm just going to stop. I'm going to stop reading 39 Days of Night. I need to revisit it. Hopefully I'm in a better headspace at some point. But right now, honestly, I'm just not in the mood for the sort of whatever type of story this is. I need something different. It's not clicking, and it's not even the story. It's just my mood needing a particular type of story. Or it's not the book, because it's just everything about it is just ticking off boxes that really appeal to me as far as what it's discussing and how it's executing it overall. So I'm going to get back on my ride. Okay, let's review that one book with paper, The Future of the Timeline. I thought it was fairly good, but there was something about it that didn't quite work for me. I think I gave it between, was it 3.5 rounding down or 3.5 rounding up? I want to say it was rounding down. I don't remember. But then there was a quickie Emezi's, You Made a Fool of Death Through Your Beauty, which blew my mind. It was beautiful and amazing. Emezi made a fool of death with the beauty of their writing. And I may have had one critique about the way the story ended up in the end. Then there was 30 Days of Night, and I'm beginning to second guess whether or not maybe I was a little reactionary. Maybe I was too quick to dismiss all the reading I had done, because I was like over 70%, almost 80% of that book. And in retrospect, sure, I was confused about the secondary perspective, thinking it was the mother. I probably missed some key context early in the book. But like, I know what was going on. Like, I recognize that this man is trying to find proof of this bird that his mother saw before she died. And this painter supposedly saw, but no other scientist or person has ever documented. Like, I get that, and I know the history of this painter, and now I recognize that it's the painter who has a connection to this one story that his grandmother told. Like, I know all the details. Just because I missed that one key thing, I don't think I was quite as blank on the story as I thought I did in the moment. I was just stressed out. The thing is, I've already deleted it off of Libby, gave it to someone else. So there's no finishing it tonight. So that's done. I may continue it. I don't know. Probably will continue it. I do like the book. Still say that I'm not in the headspace to really appreciate it. And the fact that I forced myself to, I think, just took away from the experience, because there's so much there to love as far as the themes that are being explored. The writing is really well done. Now that I see where it's all connecting, it makes more sense as far as what the two perspectives are giving us and why we get that second perspective. And also giving us more background about that artist and how that sort of reflects our main character's own life and how their different identities, sort of their own experiences reflect one another. But that's that. We're done talking about that. I would still recommend it based off what I've read. Okay? And then finally, to be a trans man. My thoughts haven't changed much on this. It was an interesting conclusion. I will say that I did notice that a couple of the interviews slash whatever you want to call them did start to sort of get into the activist side of it, which I remember seeing a review that said this was too heavy on activism. And one, I don't think it is. Like, there might have been one or two activists that talked about actively talked about their activism. But even then, I don't think that's a bad thing to include here, talking about what it means to be transmasculine. And part of that means the activism that has to be done merely to exist, given the state of the world and how unaccepting it is. That I don't have a problem with. All in all, like, it was very effective. I think it was really interesting seeing all the ways in which trans-masculine people see masculinity in themselves, or how they perceive their own masculinity and how that fits into their life, and how it's so different, how there's no one right way to be a man or a trans-masculine person. And it's beautiful, it's amazing, and I really do recommend it. It may not be the best book ever in the sense that I still don't love the interview style, but the key message is still there. And it's a pretty easy read because of the interview style. This book's not published until October 20th, I think. I may end up doing a review that I'll post closer to that. But I mean, you could always put it on, what do you call it? What do you do with books you buy ahead of time? Pre-order. You put it on pre-order. Point is that book's coming out. If you're interested in exploring what it means to be masculine or transmasculine or a man or trans man, what that is to say, I highly recommend it. I really, really do. What else is there? Oh, I guess we could do a quick review of the bingo board. Since I didn't technically finish 30 Names of Night, there's a book, like a fourth book, that I haven't finished. You could say DNF a book. I guess that's a question mark, right? We could call it that. And technically, I did DNF it. Or maybe I will finish it. I don't know. No, I can't count it. But I think you'll have to overlap. I'm going to assume you can. So just assume any category from any of the 3 books goes to that little question mark. It's basically a freebie. So I'm going to count that as basically getting a bingo. I mean, this week started out great, and then it's sort of just, I think, getting overwhelmed with work. But also, it's one of those things where, you know, if I go full stop, it's going to catch up to me. I mean, this is why I don't read as much as I did back in 2020. I just don't have the endurance to push through consistently, and I need to pace myself. Otherwise, I begin to slog. I reach a point where I don't want to read at all, and then it's a feedback loop where I don't read. I feel bad about it, so I read less. You got to find what works for you, and that's what I've been trying to do here. All in all, this has been fun. I've got at least part of the video edited already ahead of time, and hopefully it won't take as long to get this prepared. So I'd love to get this up on Sunday. I don't know if I'll get captions on. I really do want to get captions up because I know that Kathy specifically requests you do that if you're going to post videos. But considering how infrequent I've been on my videos, I'm sure I'll post it regardless, and hopefully I'll get to the captions as well. In any case, I'm digressing and I'm rambling. Thank you for staying. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of Pride Month, and I'll see you all later. Stay safe.